The air in the shrine room was heavy, thick with the weight of ages. Eleanor shivered, her hand hovering over the ancient altar. Dust coated the smooth, cold stone. An ornate silver locket lay nestled in the center, its surface dull and tarnished. As her fingers brushed against it, a jolt shot up her arm. Images flashed in her mind. Swirling mists, a shadowy figure, a piercing scream. Eleanor gasped, pulling her hand back as if burned. This was more than just a haunting. This was a raw, palpable force, ancient and enraged. She was certain now. This locket, this room, held the key to the mystery that had plagued her family for generations. The haunting of Hollow's End was not just a story, it was a curse, and she was somehow at its center. Eleanor stared at the locket again. She didn't want to touch it, knowing it would unleash another torrent of disturbing images. But something drew her to it, a magnetic pull she couldn't resist. She had to know the truth. She had to understand. As Eleanor picked up the locket, the images returned, stronger this time. She saw a woman who looked exactly like her, dressed in a long, flowing gown. The woman was weeping, her cries echoing around Eleanor, full of despair and a terrible, heart-wrenching sadness. Then another figure materialized beside the woman. Tall, with cruel eyes and a triumphant smirk, he held the woman captive. He whispered something to her, words Eleanor couldn't hear, but their meaning was clear. He was the source of her torment. He was the architect of her suffering. The visions faded, leaving Eleanor shaken and breathless. She understood now. The woman was her ancestor, trapped in the mansion along with countless other souls. And she, Eleanor, was the key to setting them free. The weight of this responsibility, of their collective pain, pressed down on her with suffocating force. She thought of all the stories she had heard growing up, the whispers of the curse on Hollow's End. Her family had tried to ignore it, to pretend it wasn't real. But Eleanor knew better. She could feel it in her bones, in the very marrow of this house. This was her legacy, her burden to bear. The thought of sacrifice flitted through Eleanor's mind. The spirits seemed desperate, their energy clinging to her like cobwebs. Was giving up her own life the only way to appease them, to break the curse that bound them all? The idea was terrifying, yet it held a certain allure. To end the torment, to bring peace to Hollow's End, even at the cost of her own future, wasn't that a noble act? A sacrifice worthy of her family's legacy? No. Eleanor pushed the thought away. She refused to believe that her life, her future, was the only currency these spirits understood. There had to be another way, a way that didn't involve such a terrible price. She had to believe in a different kind of strength, a strength that came from fighting for life, not surrendering to death. Her heart pounded in her chest, a drumbeat of defiance against the oppressive atmosphere of the mansion. She wouldn't be another victim, she would be a survivor. A chorus of whispers filled the room, voices rising from the shadows like tendrils of smoke. They spoke of their suffering, of the endless torment they endured within the mansion's walls. Eleanor recognized her ancestor, the woman from her vision, her voice filled with a bone-deep sorrow. "Help us," they pleaded, their voices a symphony of despair. "Free us from this prison." Their ethereal forms shimmered around her, translucent hands reaching out as if trying to touch her, to draw her into their world of shadows and pain. Eleanor stepped back, fear prickling her skin. She wanted to help them, but their desperation was overwhelming. They swirled around her, their pleas becoming more insistent, more demanding. "We are bound to this place," they wailed, "bound by the lies that hold us captive." Their words sparked a flicker of hope in Eleanor's chest. Lies. If the curse was built on lies, then the truth could shatter it. But what was the truth? And how could she possibly uncover it after all this time?